Out of its banks, the Missouri River makes its way down Main Street in Herman.
Deja vu all over again. The governor issues another no-wake ban at the Lake of the Ozarks.
And what Missourians say about bringing Syrian refugees to the U.S. KOMU 8 News at 10 starts now. A historic day in mid-Missouri. It's being compared to the flood of 1993. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jem Reed.
And I'm Emma Reckenberg. Thanks for joining us. It's stopped raining across the state for now, but roads that are wet could produce a few icy spots overnight. Let's send it over to Tori, who's been following the storm system all week.
Thanks a lot for joining us here on our Monday evening. More rain chances. We'll have that coming up in just a bit.
Here's what's happening right now. Parts of Herman are underwater. Let's take a look at these numbers. These are river levels from Jefferson City to the eastern part of the state. On this map, red is moderate flooding, purple is severe flooding. In Herman, the river is cresting at this very hour at 33.7 feet. Flood stage is 21 feet. That means the river is about 12.5 feet above flood stage in Herman right now. Here are some pictures taken from Herman this afternoon. These are courtesy of the Advertiser-Courier newspaper. As you can see, streets are closed downtown. Here's a look back at the city park. You can see floodwaters are high in Herman and they're cresting at this very hour.
Columbia Public Works announced it will have an 8-person crew monitoring and treating potential spotty icing conditions on roadways beginning late tonight. Temperatures could cause some standing water on roadways to freeze. Potential ice will be highest on low traffic and residential roads overnight. Motorists should be cautious of spotty icing while driving tomorrow.
The flooding is causing severe property damage at the Lake of the Ozarks.
KOMU 8's Colby Satterfield joins us in studio where residents are emotional after water crept into their homes overnight.
I spent the day on the Lake of the Ozarks near Camdenton talking to people about the high water that took their homes. 2 residents I spoke with this afternoon told me they didn't have flood insurance and were unsure of what would happen next. So far, there has been no assistance for those displaced from their homes, either from the government or from the Red Cross.
Governor Nixon has declared a state of emergency. That happened yesterday. 10 people have died, mostly from cars driving into flash flooding. According to the MoDOT website, there are currently 545 lanes of traffic in Missouri closed due to flooding. Despite warnings from emergency personnel, the governor is not optimistic about the death toll.
Many rivers are not expected to crest for another several days. For example, 2 locations south of St. Louis are expected to tie or beat the records of high water levels set in 1993, according to current forecasts.
The governor urges Missourians never to drive into a flooded road.
4 foreign soldiers who were stationed at Fort Leonard Wood were among the 10 confirmed victims of major floods throughout the state. Pulaski County Chief Deputy John Grove told KOMU 8 News earlier today that 4 people killed in flooding were Pulaski County, where international soldiers being trained at Fort Leonard Wood. At this point, authorities are not releasing their names. Grove said the trainees drove off into a bridge that was covered by floodwaters, and the swift current flipped the car and carried it downstream.
Normally these low water bridges, they're contiguous to a lot of Missouri road networks, and it's impossible sometimes to determine just how much or the depth. You don't even know if the road is still existing underneath the water.
Highway 17, 728 and Highway T are still closed. Emergency crews in the area are in process of closing and opening roads as they see fit. Emergency crews in St. Louis rescued 2 homeless men trapped among a flood wall in St. Louis today. Officials say the men were camping there when the rising waters flooded the area. Firefighters then rushed to the scene and pulled the men out. Police say the men were never in the water but got trapped because the water levels rose quickly. Firefighters were able to lead the men to safety.
In case your home is damaged from a natural disaster, insurance might not cover the destruction. General Homeowners Insurance does not offer protection against flooding, landslides, sinkholes, or earthquakes. Homeowners can purchase additional coverage for those damages. The Department of Insurance says Missouri is the third largest market for earthquake insurance and has more than 15,000 verified sinkholes. The Missouri Association of Insurance Agents says it's working to make the coverage more affordable.
We've been very frustrated in the legislative process about trying to improve the availability and affordability of earthquake coverage.
Case says insurance companies offer automatic sinkhole coverage to commercial properties, but not to homeowners. Another Planned Parenthood ruling today. That's coming up after the break.
You've seen the debate all over Facebook, but we'll show you the statistics. What you had to say about Syrian refugees coming to the U.S. That's next.
A federal judge ruled today Planned Parenthood of Kansas and Mid-Missouri can begin performing medical abortions. Judge Nanette Lowry blocked the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services from revoking its abortion license in Columbia. This comes after months of controversy when MU began revoking refer and follow privileges. Planned Parenthood says it's now searching for a doctor to perform abortions in Columbia.
Mediacom customers may be experiencing issues with their video, internet, and phone services. Mediacom made the announcement on their Facebook page with this post and on its Twitter account around 5 this evening. And Missouri isn't alone. Customers in 6 other states may also be having problems. Mediacom says it's working to have services restored shortly. So far, there's no word on what's causing the issue. There are no Syrian refugees in Mid-Missouri right now, but soon that could change. President Barack Obama said in 2016 the United States will accept 10,000 Syrian refugees. We asked you, our viewers, to weigh in on the topic. KOMU 8's Alyssa Casares has more on what you had to say.
If there's 10,000.
If you would like to see the full results report to our survey, visit KOMU.com.
Coming up after weather, progress made in the fight against ISIS today.
What it means in the larger war against the terror group. That's coming up.
Closer to our overnight low tonight.
It's the final week of 2015.
What can you do?
Tori, thanks.
Speaking of weather, weather across the U.S. means thousands of flights are canceled. Now, tornadoes and snowstorms in Texas ended up canceling dozens of flights. More than 700 flights were canceled at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport alone. O'Hare International Airport officials reported more than 400 flights were canceled Monday, about 1/3 of all flights canceled in the U.S.
An Iraqi city is freed, and the Iraqi military says it's just getting started. That's coming up next.
And here are your lucky lottery numbers. Good luck to you.
2 Cleveland police officers will not face charges in the fatal shooting of 12-year-old Tamir Rice.
The officer shot Rice a little more than a year ago. He was carrying a pellet gun at the time. The prosecutor called the case a perfect storm of human error, but insisted the evidence did not indicate criminal conduct by the police. NBC's Dan Shinneman reports. Rice's family urged protesters to be peaceful with their demonstrations. The U.S. Attorney's Office says it is conducting an additional independent civil rights investigation. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel is returning from his family vacation in Cuba to address the latest crisis involving the Chicago Police Department. His office announced today the mayor is cutting his family trip short and will return tomorrow afternoon. Police shot and killed 2 people on Saturday, a 19-year-old who was reportedly being combative toward officers, as well as a 55-year-old grandmother who was accidentally hit and killed by gunfire. Emanuel has been the target of heavy criticism, and there's been calls for his resignation since the city last month released a video of a white officer shooting a black teenager 16 times.
After retaking the city of Ramadi from ISIS, the Iraqi military will march on the northern city of Mosul next. Mosul is the largest population center controlled by ISIS in either Iraq or Syria. The Iraqi army captured Ramadi today in its first major victory over ISIS.
Chiefs need a Broncos loss to keep them alive for an AFC West title. See how Denver fared tonight against Cincinnati next in sports. Now here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News today. We'll be live from the Lake of the Ozarks, where the high waters there have caused some docks to float away from their properties.
And we'll keep an eye on road conditions as temperatures are going to drop. That's coming up on KOMU 8 News today starting at 4:30 a.m. Tori.
All right, let's go. Going to feel a little bit more like winter this week.
Chiefs fans rooting for Cincinnati. What's the word?
We are 6 seconds into overtime. Right now it is tied at 17, so we will know this tomorrow morning.
That's our time for now. Thanks for joining.